Hello and welcome to the video. This is the next video in the build series of this HolyBro X650 quadcopter kit. It's quite a big machine. Now, last time we got the PixHawk 6C in a state where it could be put on here. This time, this is what it's all about. It's about putting the 6C, the GPS and all the pieces onto here, connecting up the motors, making sure the power system's okay, test running all the motors, and then ultimately checking that we can arm it. The last thing to do before we finish the video will be put the props on and put the legs on, and at that point it's kind of ready to go to the field and do some test hovering. Now, all of the information that you're going to need, as I mentioned in the other video, is already in the Ardupilot and the HolyBro documentation. I'll put links to both of those things in the bits and pieces below. There's not a lot of difference from setting up Ardupilot on something like this as any other model or any other flight controller running something like Ardupilot. So all of the steps, even if you're doing something slightly different, it should still be relevant for you. So let's go on the bench, start looking at how we're going to put the PixHawk 6C onto this X650 frame, go through all the tests. So by the end of it, if you wanted to, you kind of be in a place where you could go out and do a test hover. Now, the way this is going to normally be built is this plate is going to go over the top, and that is ultimately where we're going to put our PixHawk in the middle and all the other pieces. But let's just talk a little bit about the power distribution board. Now, this is the part that's going to take the voltage and current from the battery and share it around the rest of the model. A couple of common mistakes that I hear people make when they're putting this kit together. Underneath this power distribution board, it is held off the carbon fiber by little nylon nuts. Make sure you fit those. This power distribution board is going to have the full voltage of the battery, and carbon fiber is conductive. So if you clamp it directly onto the carbon fiber, you're going to have short circuits, and that's bad. Other thing as well is that here on the side is this little thing here. This is a rubbery holder for the connector that you're going to plug your battery into. It comes through this top plate. Make sure you fit this. If you don't, then what's going to happen over time is these cables are going to be rubbed through by these edges of the carbon fiber and eventually cause a short. And again, that's not a good thing. So make sure you've done those two things. Other things as well is, as you're putting it together, and I've mentioned this in the very first video introduction to the series, it's pretty easy. Each of these arms are marked with, this is motor 4, this is motor 1, this is motor 2, this is motor 3. You just attach them where they need to. The instructions are pretty clear. Out of each arm, there are 3 cables, which can be a bit confusing. There's this white and black one. This white and black one is actually for the ESC. That's what we're going to send the signals to the ESC to power everything. So we're going to plug that into the PixHawk in a bit, and we're going to test the motors. The other one that comes out of it, and the nice thing is everything is labeled here, so we know which is which. This one that has the 3 wires on it, the black, red and yellow, this is for the LED at the end. The other thing that comes out of it is this thing here, which is the power cable. No soldering needed, everything's made off, and we just plug each of the arms into the power distribution board, and that's going to take care of getting all the voltage from the battery into the arms and into the ESC. You'll notice though that there's a couple of other things on here as well, because there's this piece, which is actually plugged into the main XT60 connector. This is called the power module, and this will actually plug into, in a minute, where it says power 1. We're going to plug it into there. This little unit's job is to sit between the battery connector and the power distribution board, and to not only provide the PixHawk 6C with the voltages that it needs to run, but also provide it with information on both the current and voltage that's being used by the model, so the flight controller can monitor that. So that's what that bit is. The last little bit, which is part of the kit, is this bit here, and it looks again like another one of these, but it actually has a very specific job. This one is only there to supply the 5 volts and ground if you're going to be using anything that needs it, like a servo or something else. So I've plugged this into one of the spare outputs. There's 2 spare outputs here at the bottom. Most of these bigger rigs tend to have spares, so you can plug this into here. This is going to provide the 5 volts that we're going to need in order to run servos and potentially the NeoPixels when we get to that part. So that's how that's all gone together. The only other common gotcha apparently that happens is the way these are built is that you unscrew this collet and the arm will fold down for storage. When you are putting it on, make sure that you do this collet up completely. The arm, when it's all together, should not be capable of being wiggled up and down. At the moment, it'll wiggle slightly because the top plate isn't on, but make sure whenever you are putting it together that all of these collets on each of these arms are nice and tight, and then that guarantees the motors won't be moving around. So now we've kind of covered all that, what we're going to do is I'm going to gather all of the signal cables to come down here, and luckily everything is marked, which makes it really easy. And then what I'm going to do is also have the power cable through the top, and then now I've filmed this bit, what I can do is actually pop the top on here, put a couple of screws in the corners, and then when we come back we'll actually start putting the PixHawk on the top and plugging it all in. So here we are looking at it with the top deck on just temporarily, just with 1 bolt, because I might want to get under here to mount the pieces. I've plugged in one of the PWM outputs. This is the one that we're going to connect all of the motors into, and as you can see I have installed the GPS here on the stalk. Everything is held on by the double-sided foam pads that you get in the kit. You need to mount modern flight controllers like this without vibration isolation. You can take care of all the vibration via other methods these days. The receiver is down underneath. The only other connections I've made at the moment, this, if you remember, was from the power module that's underneath. So that's supplying the PixHawk 6C with all the voltages it needs. The GPS is on the stalk. I've put a little cable tie here just so this cable isn't flapping around. The next job then is to connect up the ESCs. Now, as I mentioned, all of the ESCs have 2 wires coming from them. Everything is clearly labelled. The one with the white and black connection is the one for the ESC. The other one is for the NeoPixel LEDs at the ends of the arms. I'll do that setup in a separate video. Now, the cool thing is all of these are nicely labelled. So this is motor 1. We're going to plug it into output 1, making sure that the black cable is farthest away from the notches. The next cable that I'm going to pull out is motor 3. So that's going to plug into here. Then we have motor... This is the great thing about this. Everything is just so clearly labelled. Motor 2. We're going to plug that into output 2, and then finally hopefully motor 4 it is, and that is going to plug into output 4 like that. So that's how that's all going to work. I'm probably going to mount this underneath when we're all set, but that's all the ESC connections done. That's pretty straightforward. However, we need to connect this back to Mission Planner because we need to tell Ardupilot that it's going to be talking to the motors out in the arms via something called DSHOT, and that's going to give us a couple of big advantages. The first is that the update speed to the motors on the arms is going to be faster. That's going to provide a better flying model, plus it also is a digital protocol, and because of that we don't have to go through any calibration routine on these arms. So let's stop there. Let me grab a USB cable. Let's plug into the computer and set the outputs for DSHOT, and then we're almost ready to power everything up and make sure the motors run. So with us connected back to the PixHawk 6C, we can go through the couple of things that we need to check before we go and test the motors. In mandatory hardware, in frame type, just make sure that you have selected the right frame type. You have to click on the top here. This just selects the number of motors really, whether it's 4, 6, 8 or whatever. I've clicked on the 4 one, and I've also highlighted the frame layout type, which obviously is this one here. It's a classic X quadcopter. Once that has been set, then you'll find that in the servo outputs, you'll be able to see that the first 4 motors have been mapped to the first 4 outputs, and that's the same place that we've just physically plugged the wires in on the actual frame itself. So that will all be good. Next thing we need to do then is we need to go into config, and we need to tell Ardupilot that we're going to use DSHOT. There's 2 things we need to change in here. Normally it would only be 1, but with this PixHawk 6C we need to have a couple. The first one, we need to search for board IO DSHOT, BRD_IO, and by default it's set to 0. You won't be able to use DSHOT unless you set that for 1. We'll press enter and say write params. It'll say we need a reboot, and that's absolutely fine. The other thing we're going to do is we're also going to search for MOT_PWM type. At the moment it's going to be set for good old PWM, which is fine. However, I want it set for something like DSHOT 300. Again, we will write that param, say yes, and we will need to reboot the flight controller. But by doing those 2 things, we should now be able to go back into setup, go into optional hardware, and then test the motors using the motor test tab. So let me just unplug, go back to the desk, and just show you how to check the power system's okay before you plug your battery in for the first time. So the way just to check that we don't have any dead shorts on this, and again, big tricks here are to make sure that you use the nylon spacers underneath the power distribution board, underneath this main board here, and also make sure that you're using the little rubberized support for the XT60 battery connector at the bottom. Now all I've done is I've just connected the 2 leads from my multimeter to the 2 pins in the power connection where we're going to plug the battery in. I'm going to put my meter onto ohms. Hopefully you can see that. So this is just a resistance measurement. There are capacitors within a couple of the components that we've fitted to this model. So when we plug it in, we should see it go to 0 immediately, which can be quite worrying. But then what we want to see is it then come up from 0 to be a non-zero number. So let's plug it in. There's the dead short. And as the capacitors charge, you get that kind of behavior. So that looks fantastic to me. Really, really happy with that. Looks like we're ready to actually plug everything in for the first time. Now I have moved the camera a little further away, so hopefully you can kind of see the motors in shot. It's quite a big quad this, so don't forget we have the numbers of the motors actually written on the top, so that should make it easier. Now when I've got the legs fitted and this is going to be flying, I'm going to be putting quite a big chunky 6S battery on the bottom of this. We don't need that for the little test on the bench. I'm just going to be plugging in a little 6S battery just so we have the voltage into the ESCs. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to plug the battery in for the first time. We just need to get around the corner and plug it in. Hopefully you can still see all the motors on the camera. I'll plug it into the computer. Lots of noises, but it's quietened down. That's a great sign. That sounds like the DSHOT stuff has been loaded and it's talking to the ESCs. So the next job then is go into the setup menu. Let's just connect. Go into optional hardware, zoom down to motor test. And what we're going to do, we're going to run each of the motors. It's going to tell us which motor is which. So for example, it says test motor A. That should be motor number 1. Motor number 1 is here at the front and it should rotate in a counterclockwise direction. That should be in that direction. So when I click test motor A, we're going to hear a tone. The motor is going to run just for a couple of seconds, and I just need to watch which way it turns. So we're checking for a number of things here. Is the right motor turning? Is motor 1 the right motor? Should be. And also, does it turn in the right direction? So let me click it. And it does. Perfect. So motor 1 is good. Let's do test motor B, which is motor number 4, looking on the top. So that's going to be this one down here. This should rotate in a clockwise direction. So we'll click it. That worked perfectly. Test motor C, which is going to be motor 2. Motor 2 is this one here. Again, it's so handy having it written on the top. We have this motor out here. This should again be counterclockwise. And then finally motor D, which is motor 3, clockwise, it should turn. That is fantastic. We can test our motors at the same time. They all start and stop exactly the right time. We don't need to do any calibration. We don't need to go into any more detail than that. The motors are now perfect and everything is working exactly as we want it. This is a massive step. This means then that we could potentially do things like start playing around with props. However, there is one thing that I would do before we do that. If you go back into the data screen, at the moment, you'll see that it says it's not ready to arm. And you see at the big screen here, it says pre-arm radio control not found. The reason for that is because the receiver is not powered, and that's fine. If you get to the point, and we'll cover arming in the maiden flight video, but what we need to do is we need to make sure that if we click on not ready to arm, the only pre-arm check that we have for this moment is the fact that we don't have our radio powered. We know about that. If there's nothing else in this list, we have done a fantastic job of setting everything up. So at this point, I'm really happy. The last thing is to maybe think about actually putting the propellers on. Now, the propellers for this are really nice units. You just get one set, so make sure you don't crash. And you'll find that in each bag, you'll have props that are actually opposites. Okay, so one is designed to spin clockwise with the leading edge higher up. That's going to go on the clockwise motors. If you're not sure which motor is which, again, on the top, it actually shows you the rotation. So this prop would go onto this motor, held in place with a couple of screws. I'd recommend whenever you're doing something like that, use a little bit of some kind of thread locker just to make sure the props don't come off, which means that the other one would go on the other side and then the other two props would go on the front. But at this point, we are looking really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to power everything off. I'm going to neaten up the wiring, and I'm also going to probably fit the legs, because at this point we could go to the field and do a test hover with the legs on it and the props installed safely. But if you've been following along, by this point, you've done pretty much all the hard work. Join me in the next video. I will show you how to set up these things. These are the little LEDs at the ends of these arms designed to come on. We're going to have to plug in the other PWM output into the other connector here at the bottom, and then we can actually set those up. And I'll probably do a quick video on how you do telemetry radios as well. But thank you for following along. Hopefully you've got to the same point with the same result. You've built a quadcopter with a PixHawk 6C and the X650 frame. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Pedantry 360 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.